Welcome to the Cincy PostCast. I'm Kevin Wallace, and before we get started with today's episode, I get to tell you about our good friends over at Streetside Brewery. They are amazing. Look, if you have not checked them out, you are missing out. Stop it. Stop doing yourself a disservice here. Go check them out. They are an amazing local brewery here in Cincinnati, over on the east side on Columbia Tusculum. They do some amazing stuff over there. They brew delicious, delicious beers. They have other menu options as well. There's food options there. It's a really cool place. They've always got different events going on. They got music out on the patio. It's a really cool spot. It's my favorite spot to watch away matches for sure. If you can't get out, maybe you live really far away, you can always pick up their stuff in a local grocer in the beer section. Look for Streetside. You won't be disappointed. They brew all sorts of kinds of beers. They're truly the jack of all trades. It's really good stuff. Huge fans of them. Thank you for sponsoring this episode, Streetside. I think you guys are really going to enjoy this one. Because on today's episode, oh, baby. Yeah, you read that right in the title. Kei Kamara in part 2. It is, with absolutely no offense intended to any and all of our former guests, this might be our favorite. Might be my favorite interview that we've done. Kei is hilarious. We get some good insights from the veteran. Okay, it's a really fun interview. In part 1, we are talking about FC Cincinnati's newest signing, Ender Echenique. We've also got Damon Gumbert providing audio from the impromptu press conference that general manager Chris Albright gave about the newest signing and about the sort of youth pipeline from the academy to the 2 team to the first team. I know a lot of people have been asking about that, wondering about that. We got Chris Albright's takes on tape. Okay, it's good stuff. Part 3, it's hell is real, folks. Okay, we're talking about the game. We're talking about the vibes. We predict it. We imagine. We attempt to manifest good, positive outcomes in this one. All right. I think you're really going to enjoy this one. And even if you don't, that's fine. I did enjoy this one. Here is your Hell is Real postcast. Joining me to talk about all of that and more, I am joined by 2 gentlemen who are in the middle of Hell is Real week. Joined by the Chief. I'm joined by Grayson. Grayson, we are just a few short days out from Hell is Real. How are we feeling?
Well, you know, I'm feeling like I always feel heading into Hell is Real, which is
bad
nervous,
and bougie.
Bad. Yeah, bad and bougie. But you know, I was thinking about I was looking at some of the news items today, or some of the storylines around the game. And I don't think FC Cincinnati does enough to, I guess, inflame the fans' passions against Columbus. I saw this story where, you know, like, Nordeca just adds extra money on top of what they're charging away fans for tickets.
Yeah. And
then it gives fans like the fuel to say, look how FC Cincinnati is gouging us. You know? Whereas, you know, FC Cincinnati, when, you know, Columbus hosted first and jacked up prices, kind of setting the price for the season, FC Cincinnati de-escalated.
Yep.
You know, they gave the fans money back against the away ticket price. And I kind of wish they hadn't done that, you know, because think about how mad you could have been at the crew for gouging you. Plus, they should have run the tickets through the supporters groups, told the supporters groups to put like a 10% surcharge on top of that for the tifo making, and you got a bunch of angry Cincinnatians who paid $100 to go to this game, plus however much they're paying. I guess Crew's also making their fans pay for the bus down.
Wow, are they really? Incredible.
That's what I heard. I don't know that for a fact. And I gotta say, like, I think there's something to, like, maybe that's why Columbus always performs well down here. Is there something to, like, really pissing your fans off right before a big away match?
Yeah, there's like an angry energy to it.
Like, this is there's no such thing as bad PR, is what this is right here. Like, there is no, like, as long as you're generating an emotion for someone, it doesn't matter if the emotion comes from a good place or a bad place. All that it matters is that you felt something, even if we were the cause, or the Columbus Crew were the cause of your own anger. At least your fans are angry.
If you were running a government, just make the country suck and then blame your opponent.
Yeah, of course. It's good.
Easy.
No, Chief, to your point, love and hate are two sides of the same coin, baby. I just need you to feel passionately. All right. Either way, I'll take it. Chief, I don't know if you know this number off the top of your head.
69.
Do you know? That's actually the answer to Detroit City when I ask you the question. Right. It's how many away tickets does Columbus get?
69 would be a really funny answer to that too.
Right.
I think it's somewhere in like the 200s. So it's like 200 tickets that we make available, like 250 or something.
So
it is I do know that it is a reciprocal process, that whatever we get, they get, whatever they get, we get.
Okay.
And
so give or take, they will be bringing home somewhere north of $2,000. That is the Nordecke for their $10 surcharge on top of.
I think it's tickets. Like a $7 surcharge or something, but yeah.
So we're in the ballpark of $2,000.
Obviously, we'll round up.
We're the podcast that rounds up. We're optimists that way.
It rounds up to $5,000. I just want to point out that that's the cost of like one tifo. I don't know how many tifos Columbus does, but
well, I mean, they got to pay the licensing fee to R.L. Stein for Goosebumps.
Got to pay the printer.
Right.
Well, yeah, you got to pay the printer.
I thought you were going to ask, like, what would I do with that kind of money if I was still running an SG? And the answer is, what is $7?
$7 a ticket.
Okay, that's 200 months of subscription to Grok. X is AI. It's all happening on X.
No. Chief, you can't subscribe to Grok anymore.
That's true. Okay. Grok is canceled.
We canceled Grok. Grok went from woke to canceled real quick.
Grok even went a little too far for the postcast there. some other stuff. Because generally we support Elon, we support Grok.
Of course.
We had a hand in programming Grok. They consulted us a little bit on the reprogram, but let's just say not all of our notes were taken.
No.
Would have been way worse.
Yeah, and I gotta say it's unfortunate, right? Well, we can make it worse, guys.
Never beating the allegations here. No, my only contribution to Grok would be just making sure that when somebody asks what is the FC, that it gives you the correct answer, and that is, in fact, FC Cincinnati.
It is my favorite little piece of like the internet, where it occasionally gets rediscovered every like 8 or 9 months, where if you ask Google, generally from almost anywhere in the world with a fresh, clean browser history, no bias towards your location or previous websites you've viewed, that if you ask it who or what is the FC, you've got like a pretty good chance. I've seen like 80% success rate here of it telling you the FC is either FC Cincinnati or FC Barcelona, which understandable. They're both equally sized clubs. So it would make sense to confuse those.
In fact.
Incredible.
Speaking of other people who got asked questions this week.
Hey,
how about that for a segue right there?
Does that make Chris Albright Grok? Hang on.
It makes him other than Grok.
Okay, good. Not specifically and explicitly not Grok.
Right. He could be literally anyone or anything except for Grok.
You can't spell Albright without AI. Many people have noted this as well.
Many people have.
I also want to point out that Albright is not Tay. That was Microsoft's chatbot that they released some 10 years ago.
Grok's spiritual and metaphorical grandmother.
But he might be AI Bright.
Oh.
Which would be, I assume, a sequel to the Will Smith classic vehicle, Bright.
I thought it was going to be the sequel to AI, and he's Haley Joel Osment.
It's an AI and Bright crossover.
Wow. I mean, you could also go iRobot if you're looking for Will Smith movies about,
there's a lot we can add in here.
I was just thinking, actually, back in the day, AI Bright might have been his AIM name. Like when he signed on and realized that Albright was taken, was like, no, I'll just make the I look like an L. No one will ever be able to know.
That's a good point. But Albright did take questions from the media. Chief, I think you noted this as well out there. He should do more of this, shouldn't he?
He's really good.
Yeah.
Like he's very, very good with the media. And not only very good with the media, but like it's one thing to be good with the media. There are a lot of sports executives where if you sit them in a small room, they will charm the media. But like he's good at giving answers because he knows every single thing he says is going to be reported out.
Of course.
The answers he gives are not only really good, they're very easily digestible in terms of it's easy to understand what he is saying, why he is saying it, and what he means when he's saying things. And for a sport in a league, especially that can be a little opaque at times, it is kind of refreshing to hear Albright talk about it.
Also, and this is not pointed at any individual person, but collectively, he does treat the media with an appropriate level of disdain. Just kind of underlying a lot of his answers and tone, and maybe disdain's not the right word, but certainly like, here's something that is a little pointed at somebody. Pat Brennan likes to tell the story about how he has like family in common or knows people in common with Albright in Philly, and he started to mention that, and Albright shut it down like real quick. And, I do think it's important that, as much as we love what these people do, they do need to get put in their place.
And by
often.
These people, we're also including ourselves in that.
We're definitely
need to be put in our place.
We're definitely including Damon.
Yeah, specifically Damon.
And only Damon.
Well, in fairness, Damon's the only one who can pass for media amongst us. So
this is true.
He's got that going for him.
Has Damon ever failed to interview a candidate for the presidency of the United States, but spent the entire time trying to turn on and off his recorder because it was out of battery?
I could ask him about it. We gotta have him on the pod. I was really happy about that. This week, Damon was actually able to get to training. I'd say down to training, but for most people, it is up to training or over to training.
Sideways to training. East to training.
Yeah, get on over to training. And Albright was speaking to the media, took some questions, and specifically, and what I hope to talk about as well, took a couple of questions about FC Cincinnati's newest signing, Ender Echenique. And not only did Damon get to training, but actually got some of the audio, which we're going to play for you. So here's a couple of Albright's comments on Ender Echenique.
Well, he's a right winger by nature, and so that's not really a profile we have on the team. So he's played wing back probably 10 times, and so he's got some experience there, but he offers just some different qualities than DeAndre or Alvis or even Luca, kind of playing inverted over there on the right. I think he's a player that can kind of get to the end line and take guys 1v1 and be dangerous that way. Good pace, real good willingness to work and to learn. That's kind of what we really enjoyed finding out about him through the process of recruiting him was just his ability to take information and to try to apply it. And so we're excited. But he's a young player, and young players, as we've seen before, as you all have seen here, need time to adapt. So we'll give him all the time he needs. Yeah, I mean, what we've found is it's really hard to, like, what is a wingback, right? And so we've found it really hard to identify, there's our wingback. And so you're either taking a player like Santi Arias, who's a right back, and asking him to kind of do some more in the attack than he's maybe used to, or convert wingers like we've done with Alvaro or Luca. And so we see him as the latter, as sort of a converted winger. But if we get in the spots we want to get to, then those players can be really effective for us. Yeah, you're always trying to, it's a mix, right, of adding a guy like Kei Kamara that's kind of a win-now piece, and a guy that, like Ender, that hopefully is also a win-now piece but can be a part of the build with Kevin and Evander. And so it's a blend, I would say. It's a player that I think should have a resale market if we do our job, and so that's also a play is can we make it a financial gain for ownership that continues to spend a lot of money on our roster. So it's all of those things combined.
So yeah, awesome that we actually get the actual audio from training. So huge thank you to Damon for that. But what do we make of FC Cincinnati's newest signing? I think we knew he was coming, Grayson, but how excited should we be?
Well, I'm glad that that what we thought of the profile was the same as what Albright appears to think of the profile.
Yeah,
he talked about how they recruit the quote unquote wingback, and he brought up Santiago Arias as an example of a fullback that has to get more forward. Brought up some other guys as wingers that they've asked to pick up some defensive responsibilities, and I think you can just put Arias kind of in his own bucket because he was like the best right back in the world, arguably at one point in time, or in that conversation. But I think that we would all agree, maybe not, but I think we would all agree that the better success they've had has been taking attackers and wingers and moving them into wingback positions. I mean, for a fullback to go forward, yeah, if you have Santiago Arias, he can give you everything you need. But when they've brought wingers back to wingback, they've had success at like all levels of the kind of player that that you would think about. I mean, even down to Yamil Assad on a supplemental roster spot, right?
Yeah.
They didn't need to get like a world-class winger from Atletico Madrid to make him a decent wingback. Pretty much anybody with some attacking chops has been effective at that position. Whereas I would say they've had more mixed results when they've trotted out both Yedlin and Engel at wingback, who are both kind of fullbacks that you're asking to go forward more.
Yeah. I'd even go as far as to say that has been a detriment to have two players like that at the same time.
It is interesting, though, that what they are doing with Echenique and what the profile that they talk about, and Albright specifically brought this up, is this idea that like what they like about Echenique is that he has the pace and he has the ball skills to get to the end line and cross or cut the ball back in. And we've talked about it on this show ad nauseum that like those are the goals that FC Cincinnati has missed, and they haven't scored a lot of them. And we saw we've seen a little bit of it this year, but those balls that are cut back to the spot or the top of the 6-yard box where a striker or someone else is waiting to put the ball back in. And we've gotten that from the left-hand side with Luca Orishano since moving out over there. The right-hand side has kind of been a little bit of an offensive black hole for the reasons that you guys have talked about. And if you look at the passing charts that MLS Analytics puts out over on Blue Sky, every match, this team is overloaded on its play down the left-hand side. This team has been incredibly left-hand dominant even going back to when Alvaro Barreal was manning the wing back. And so I like the idea specifically of having someone who in the later game stages can sort of offer that balance out to offer some attacking teeth down the right-hand side. Because I think as they're constituted right now, we are a little easy to defend because I don't think teams respect the attack coming down the right-hand side of the field at all.
Yeah. And, the most effective runs Yedlin has been making are, no shade, more of like decoy runs. Like the one he made that drew Andrew Gutman away from Evander against Chicago. And one of Albright's comments was, I don't remember if this was in the audio that we shared here, but it's something that showed up in some of the stories, is that the analytics have shown that when we get the ball to the end line, Denke and Evander are much more are more effective when our offense is getting the ball down to the end line. And I don't know how much data they could possibly have on that, to be honest, but I guess I'll take their word for it.
The two times it happened look good.
Yeah, I'll take their word for it. And Echenique,
we got this kid playing FIFA and he just kills it when he employs this strategy.
Echenique definitely seems like if that's the type of player that we wanted based on the footage that we've been able to locate, it definitely seems like the kind of player that he is.
Yeah. And speaking of footage, we should probably talk about the hype video of him leaving that Caracas put together.
I thought it was great.
Yeah.
I thought it was like really like dramatic, and it was like they were sending off like their son.
Yes.
Or like it played a lot like the video that someone posts when they commit to a college. Like it's their huddle tape put over some good music, and then it ends them putting the hat on for Florida. Like, I'm a Gator now. Let's go do this.
It's so funny because it does, like, I don't want to be disrespectful to the Venezuelan league, but Chief, like, that's the exact vibe of like a young guy leaving Venezuela, going to one of the big leagues. You can imagine a world where he has like a Corinthians hat, Botafogo hat, and then maybe a Boa Vista hat, and then an FC Cincinnati hat, and that's what he grabs. It's just like, oh boy, he's moving on to the big leagues. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait for him to get here. I'm happy that they announced this deal now. I don't think the window opens until the 24th.
24th,
yeah. But, so he's got time to train and get integrated, and he's a kid. Like, get his life sorted here a little bit. Find a place to live. Get connected with people and resources in the community and through the team that can help make this transition a little bit easier. I think it increases the likelihood we see something out of him this year. And I do want to make sure that I'm consistent on this. This is a signing for next year and the years beyond. If Echenique is able to offer valuable or good minutes this year, that is found money from a U22 being added at the summer window.
Speaking of found money, make sure to put your claims into the Ohio Unclaimed Funds site from the Ohio Department of Commerce, or otherwise the Haslams get it.
Yeah. Yes.
Link in the description.
I will make sure I actually get the link in the description this time. I missed that last time. I do think it's interesting to think about, like, will he contribute this year? He is, not 19 years old. He's coming over on the U22 initiative, but he's 21, 22 years old, actually, and has been playing professionally since he was 15 years old. I don't think it's insane to think that he is a contributor. I'm not saying day in, day out, nailed on starter, but a contributor this year. For sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't, like I said, I wouldn't be surprised. But when you combine age with when he's being added to the team in the summer window and add in a dash of Goss theorem on all this, I mean, after the window opens, there's only like 13 or 14 games, right?
I think there's 9 league games, right?
There's just not a lot of opportunity to find your role in the team. So I'm not going to hold it against him if this year ends up being just we see him for 10 minutes here, 15 minutes there type year.
Yeah, I think that's completely fair to not have those the expectation that he's going to do this, but I don't think it's impossible that he is a contributing Kevin, more.
He turned 21 in April.
Aha. Okay.
So
it's a little younger than I thought, but in that ballpark, yeah.
Yeah, I think Albright made the point that there's like win now signings and signings for the future that you also help.
Yeah.
You also help you win now. And yeah, if he does anything productive for us this year, wonderful. But I'm glad that they are still making signings with it. Like you would expect them and hope that they would still be making signings with an eye toward the future, because they have like these U22 slots, and you do have to think past like this window, past this season, especially with all the contracts you have potentially coming off the books.
Not only the contracts you have coming off the books, but too, there's just put a pin in this thought as well, because it's not imperative to discuss right now. But a lot of what is making this year's roster tick is they have Engel on a loan, and they are subsidizing quite a bit with a transfer fee conversion from the sale of Lucho Acosta. And without knowing what happens, the future is unknowable. I don't think it's quite a guarantee that they will be able to make another sale next year that offers them a full $3 million GAM conversion, which means they're going to have to figure some things out. And not only the $3 million GAM conversion, they also made $1 million from selling Chidozie Awazim and Ian Murphy. Yeah. And they are fresh out of Cheetos and Ian's to sell in this upcoming year to generate cash. So I think Albright alluded to this a little bit with his comments, with this idea that, look, he talked about being one of the bigger spending clubs in MLS. And I think everyone went immediately to the transfer fees for like the designated players like Kevin Denke and Evander. I don't think he's talking about that per se. I think he's talking about the number of TAM players and, players that are making above the max salary budget charge on this team. That's a very difficult thing for the team to sustain, given the way MLS roster rules works. And the way that you combat that is homegrown players, academy players, and getting people in under U22 deals where they're only hitting your budget at a certain level.
Yeah. Oh, completely. You also, too, specifically in this position, I want to say both Yedlin and Alvis Powell could be potentially gone after this season based on how options and contract options are going to look. So, it's very possible he's our only right wing back on the roster to start next year. That's on the roster currently. So something to keep an eye on there.
Do we talk about the tough news now that happened after we recorded last Sunday? The word came out that we missed was that Obi, we knew he was hurt. We got confirmation on Monday from the team that he underwent surgery to repair his quad. The timeline, or the recovery timeline, looks to be a minimum of 2 months. As we record right now, it doesn't look like the team has made a decision as to whether or not they're going to be placing Obi on the season-ending injury designation, which, because he's on a domestic spot for having a green card, would mean that they put him on SEI, they would get roster relief for the salary that he would be owed for the remainder of the year, which would let them do what they did with Cheeto last year and go and sign a replacement. It would create problems down the road if, when Obi comes back, if he's still on the same kind of contract and they've got a money issue to sort. But they haven't made that call yet. It sounds like they were going to talk to the doctors and see how surgery went. Based on Albright's comments, it sounds like their preference would be to wait and hope that you can get Obi back for the postseason. So I guess I ask you, Kevin, how are we feeling knowing that this team's going to be without one of its longest tenured players and someone that we sort of just count on seeing on a week in, week out basis?
Yeah, this is a huge loss because Obi is such a sort of like subtle player for this team. He is one of the best defensive midfielders in MLS. He was being deployed more recently a little further forward, and it was looking really effective. And his loss is a leadership loss for sure in the locker room. It is an on-field talent loss, but it also has ramifications for not just his replacement is Brian Anunga, who has been filling in fine recently, but it is obviously a step down from what Obi is and could be. But also I think this puts even more pressure on Buka to be the box-to-box all-around midfielder. And I got to think, if it's a coin flip and this is a win-now moment, I think I'd be a little quick to pull the season-ending injury designation to bring in a replacement. But, yeah.
Here's the problem with that. And look, I don't want to speculate on the nature of somebody's injury, but if he's getting surgery to repair a quad, just the recovery time doesn't feel like 2 months. It doesn't really feel like 3 months. But beyond that, yeah, like they have until the opening of the second window to add him to the season-ending injury list and get budget relief to sign a replacement player. What you have available to you it's like real limited, because you're limited to Obi's salary, basically, right? So whatever resources you're using to use up to account for Obi's salary budget charge is what you have available to sign the replacement. And he's not a DP anymore, so you can't just sign a DP. So you got to worry about, like,
I mean, you could, because he's making more than the max salary budget charge, and you do have a DP spot available. So if
you do.
If the GAM works out otherwise, or the TAM works out otherwise, in terms of not needing the rest of whatever the money you're getting between the 4 U22 or the 3 DP model, he does free up the ability to add that extra DP, because the only thing you would need to have in terms of cap space would be enough room for another max salary budget charge player.
My goodness,
I'm
it actually works.
Sure.
His salary is $982,000 and change.
I'm not sure that you can do that.
For like what, the season-ending injury?
I don't see why I don't know why you wouldn't be able to. It's just like it's a budget charge.
So it does say that the salary budget charge of the replacement player may not be more than the player who suffered the season-ending injury. I think that
DP salary budget charge is $700,000 though, right? So
if anything, the DP budget charge would be less than his current budget charge.
Well, no. It says that you can replace a DP with a DP under the season-ending injury, so...
But it doesn't say a dog can't play baseball.
Can we tag Obi as a DP and then put him on the season-ending injury list?
Yeah, maybe.
Chris Albright, I know you're listening.
It says if the injured player placed on the season-ending injury list is a designated player, the club may replace such player with a designated player, provided that his salary budget charge is not more than the player he is replacing.
I don't know that makes sense in the context of a DP, but
well,
sure.
it could be a young DP, so you can't replace a young DP with a non-young DP.
Good call. I forgot that still exists.
But yeah, I think I think another issue is sometimes the rules use salary budget charge in relation to like the maximum salary budget charge. but they also give you like a formula for calculating a player's salary budget charge. And then if the salary budget charge is higher than the max, you have to use like GAM or something to write it down.
The real reason is that like we're reading these rules and there's like another rule book that all the GMs and like the league has. That's like, we're getting the abridged version. They're getting like the one that's annotated that tells you can and can't do some of this stuff.
But the other issues relating to finding a replacement are Obi is not taking up an international slot.
Yeah.
So you'd have to go find an international slot because they're out of them currently. They would have to then go, if there was another international player they were already looking at, they would have to go find another international slot, right? And the only way to get those is with trades of GAM. And we believe they're a little tight on GAM, but
there's other ways they could create an international spot too. There's players they could buy out. They could also, if they wanted to, they could loan out Dem somewhere, like in the USL or something like that.
They could loan out Kenji, but
there's options on this. I think that the biggest question on putting on SEI beyond if he is, what his recovery timeline in is I think you got to take stock of where Yuya Kubo is. And I think that if right now you're thinking that Yuya Kubo is going to be back at some point in the next week or two, and not under a severe pitch count, or this isn't something that's going to linger, I think that changes the calculus a little bit. True. Because he is someone who can fill in and spell and offer minutes and, maybe not start. Maybe even if Anunga's your starter, he's just a rotational piece that comes in to spell Anunga or when you want to be a little more forward footed. If you're concerned that Kubo is not going to have availability for the year, you're concerned that he's going to be injured off and on, then I think the season-ending injury designation makes a little more sense in terms of freeing up roster space and budget space in order to add somebody in.
Yeah, that makes sense, I think. I'm going to quickly do some math here. So the difference between Obi's budget charge and the maximum budget charge is give or take $240,000. If that is being paid for via GAM and he is put on the season ending injury list, do we free up some amount of that, or let's say half of that because we're halfway through the year, like 100,000 GAM? Is there a player we could get for 100,000 GAM in a trade within MLS? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe some team with a central midfielder who's surplus to requirements would like a Corey Baird.
You know whose name I saw out there that would just be the funniest possible outcome?
Frankie Amaya.
Isn't he on loan with LAFC?
I thought they bought him.
I don't care. I don't care how that is the universe having just the best sense of humor is what that is.
Yeah, if there's any way to get him, get him.
So
we get to boo him every game.
How great would that be if the fans kept it going, like just booing him whenever he touched the ball for us?
It'd be really funny, but like realistically, unfortunately, you just can't.
Like just for the vibes of trying to hear the Apple TV announcers explain why the stadium is booing their own player.
Damn, he is on loan from Toluca.
We're called a loan. We can make a better offer than that.
Actually, it works way better if he's alone.
Would he run into playing for too many teams in one season, or is this a new season now?
For Toluca, it would be a new season.
He has not played. When's the last time he played for Toluca? Yeah, Toluca's season ended.
I guess we did have Brighton recall the Locadia loan and then send him to us on loan. We'd do the same thing.
Yeah. He just then can't go to yet another team other than us, LA and Toluca before the end of this calendar year.
All right, we solved it. Tag Obi, bring Frankie in. Won't miss a beat.
Wait, we make Obi a DP, then we make Frankie a DP.
Frankie may just quit the sport. He may just be like, I refuse. I'm not boarding the flight.
Well, I would say basically everybody is gone that he would have interacted with the exception of Jeff Birding, Nick Hagland, and Alvis Powell. So
Hunter Freeman.
Hunter Freeman's still there. That's gotta be it.
Maybe some people in the ticketing office.
Is man, I should know this. Is Austin Berry still with the team?
Yes, he's like a strength and conditioning coach.
Yeah. Okay. See, there you go. So
maybe that's why you didn't like it here. Maybe Austin was bullying him in the weight room.
Oh yeah, definitely. That seems like
he's calling him a nerd and telling him to put another plate up.
Yeah, that seems like an Austin thing.
Well, Austin
he was like doing the too small thing.
Right.
Austin was a MLS Rookie of the Year one point, so maybe he was giving Frankie a lot of grief for not living up to his legacy.
That'd be really funny.
Well, speaking of the young players and the youth players in FC Cincinnati, was also able to get Albright's comments on that pipeline going from the 2 team and even further back the academy on up to the first team. Again, the audio from Damon from Chris Albright.
Yes, we've spent a lot of time in that area of the building trying to professionalize some things. We have a sort of a restructure rollout that we'll have coming into this academy season that speaks to hopefully greater integration from the academy all the way through to the first team. The great thing is there's buy-in from Pat and his staff. That's really important. It's something we want to focus on. It's something Carl wants us to focus on. Developing young players, selling them. It's not an easy thing to do. We have some experience with it, and so we'll continue to try to improve that. Jeff Lorenowitz has done an incredible job kind of overseeing the second team and our top prospects. I think Jeff often gets forgotten that he's played like 1,000 games in MLS, has multiple championships, and so him overseeing that sector has been invaluable. Andres Steff, Adamar, Andres Davila, a young Colombian player down there. There's a lot of good, young, exciting prospects. Some of them are getting Andres training with the first team today. 16. He's getting a ton of experience at that level. And, we're going to continue to drill down there and hopefully, the more players you can develop there, the less guys you have to buy for $30 million. So I think we're certainly looking to go in that direction.
Does the club have specific youth targets or goals for those kind of players, or even players like Ender and Gilberto who are coming in on those U22 initiatives?
Win games and eventually drive revenue.
Okay.
Like that's really like what the academy should do, right? You look at a team like Philly, they have a lot of academy guys out there that are helping them win soccer games and be relevant, and also at the same time, that's a pipeline to be economically successful. And so our market's different. We recognize that. We have some challenges here that other bigger markets don't, but we're trying to address those with recruiting and unearthing talent in the area through our regional discovery program that we've started to try to get some of these young athletes in Cincinnati that are going on and having success in other professional sports or collegiate sports to take a liking to soccer at a younger age. That's obviously a long-term play, but if you don't start it, you never realize the benefits. So we're kind of embarking on that at the same time.
So yeah, there you have it. I know a lot of people have been talking about this. I know we have talked about this with, do we see the young guys getting minutes? I'm glad Damon was able to ask are there specific goals or targets for getting some of these players minutes? And the answer is no, just win, baby, is basically the answer we got back. Chief, agree or disagree with Chris Albright?
Agree. And you got to force your way onto the field. None of this we got to play the kids or this kid needs to get minutes to develop. Do that on your own time. But stay after practice, work a little harder, push for your spot, out-compete people in training, ball out in the minutes that you do get. Yeah, I'm not a fan at any sport at any level of play the kids or hand things to the kids. You got to announce yourself with authority. The other thing, I watched way too much shitty Reds baseball where it was just, we're going to call this guy up from AAA or AA and just hand him a job because we don't want to pay someone that's better. None of that here.
Yeah.
When
I first started working, my boss had a practice of handing out a book called The Curmudgeon's Guide to Getting Ahead to all the new entry level hires. And it's by a guy named Charles Murray. Don't Google him if you don't know who he is. He's he's got some, let's just say grok type stuff going on with him.
So yeah, I recognize that name. It's probably not good.
but it was the most boomer thing ever, right? It was be the first in, last out.
Of course.
Wear a suit every day. Whatever. But I think maybe some of that, maybe the young guys should wear a suit to training. Right.
It does remind me of the Step Brothers scene where they wear tuxedos to their joint interview. And there's a point where you taking it seriously is making a mockery of it in and of itself.
It's funny you bring him up. He just went really mega viral on Twitter today.
Oh, he's always doing that. It's
somebody. No, he didn't go viral. Somebody was roasting him about him giving advice that you should be making $15 an hour and working 48 hours a week in a convenience store to get ahead when you're young.
Right.
Heck yeah.
So
who doesn't want to spend 48 hours at a Wawa?
So here's some of the tips for the workplace that maybe the young'uns should
for
get.
The academy kids specifically. Yes.
Excise the word from your spoken English. Don't suck up. Stop reaching out and sharing. Rid yourself of piercings, tattoos, and weird hair colors.
But I work at a tattoo parlor.
I don't want to keep talking about this guy because he is a total. He is one of the worst people to ever live. But
I kind of want to follow him around with a camcorder at an anime convention. That sounds like that would be a really good time.
He puts down in that thread, as far as I can tell, unironically, where he's like, I haven't worked less than 48 hours in a week in 30 years. And it's your job is tweeting, as far as I can tell, man.
Right.
I really want, they should make him log his time.
Yeah.
For a month, right?
Just write down
when you start work, what you do throughout the day, when you end work, et cetera, et cetera. And it's going to be a whole lot of went to coffee with this guy from the American Enterprise Institute for 3 hours.
So hold on. You're asking him to list 5 things he accomplished today?
Yeah.
We're never beating the allegations.
Oh, no. Or he has to resign. Those are the options.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. There's no option B.
Resign permanently.
Well,
from everything.
This is actually an awkward and awesome segue, as it turns out, Kevin.
It really is. So I am so excited for part 2 here. I am so sad that Grayson, you were not able to join us, but we were able to. Yes, you read the description correctly. We were able to talk to Kei Kamara, 2-time FC Cincinnati player, a legend in his own right, and quickly becoming a fan favorite. He has some really funny comments on the young players on this team. So I think you will enjoy this conversation. I know we did. And on the other side of it, we're talking strictly hell is real. So enjoy this. We'll be right back. And joining us here, an incredibly special guest joining the PostCast. I would give you an introduction, but you need no introduction. If you're listening to an FC Cincinnati podcast, you know the legend of Kei Kamara. Kei, welcome to the show, man. How you doing today?
I am good. I'm good. Thank you. Maybe I should actually write up my own introduction and introduce myself. Hey, everybody. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate you. And I said earlier, I wanted to jump on the podcast when I first got here in my, first days, but unfortunately I was too busy. So thanks for giving me a second chance.
Look, we understand where we sit in the sort of tier list of media outlets. We're very low. We understand everybody else is going to jump in front of us. But now that you've been here a little bit, I'm actually excited. We actually have some things to talk about and some things to bounce off of you. No, you actually mentioned that with the intro, right? You're the second all-time leading goal scorer at MLS. You've had an incredibly long and illustrious career. You've done incredibly well. I was looking back at some early quotes from when you first got drafted by the Columbus Crew in 2006. Both you and your coach at the time said it was very surprising you were drafted in the first round. How surprised do you think your college coach is now that you've made it this far?
Yeah. The reason why is because the person that drafted me, Ziggy Schmid, may his soul rest in peace. He was playing too much games, too much mind games with me. So there's a guy that, I grew up in California, I played at Cal State Dominguez Hills, and getting to the draft, they were the reason. Him and Bob Bradley were the reason. Chivas USA, and now he was with Columbus Crew, were the reasons why I went into the draft. And going into the draft, and he's like, "Yeah, I was thinking about drafting you, but I don't think I want to draft you anymore." So we had no clue I was getting drafted.
Oh man!
Yeah. And then surprisingly, I'm sitting there. They said my name twice before I was like, "Oh, what? It's me?" I was like, "What?" Because he actually drafted a striker in the first round. So he drafted 2 strikers.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So, but no, it's an honor to say that was 20 years ago.
Sheesh.
You're supposed to play mind games with other teams to throw them off the scent for your draft. And you're not supposed to play mind games with the guy you're going to draft.
Ziggy Schmid was like that, man. He's, he was so direct. He wants to tap into you in so many different ways. And I'm so grateful that I started my career with him, because I'm African. So I got the African father plus a German American father all mixed together, hardcore, and push you to the limit. So you figure it out right away, even when you're, that young as a rookie.
So yeah. I got to ask, you're going back to when you were first drafted, and now obviously you're playing here, FC Cincinnati 2025. You've seen the majority of the history of this league from a very, very close viewing perspective. What is the biggest change that you've seen in this league since that day you heard your name called to right now as you play for FC Cincinnati?
This one. There is a team in Cincinnati. It was only 12
They'll
teams.
hand these out to anyone.
There was only 12 teams or so when I got drafted. But it's been beautiful. It's been beautiful to see how the league has evolved over the years, and the fan base, the new stadiums, the training facility that I'm in right now, to looking at, again, it's not a good week to talk, about my time in Columbus.
Sure.
Since, it's a big one, but it's looking at it and seeing where I used to train back in the days, the fields we had to train on, and then now this training facility that we have here in Cincinnati. And it's just getting bigger and bigger every year. Every team that comes into the league has to raise the bar. And when you're doing that from your training facility to the stadium, to the fan base that we do have here in Cincy, I remember, I think it was my first game that I came to watch, and I was like, it's a Wednesday, it's a weekday. Why is it so packed? I don't expect it. Those are not the things you're used to when it's a weekday, and then stadiums, it was full. I was just surprised, but it's so great to see the growth of the game.
Do you ever look in the locker room and talk to people like Stefan Chirilla or Dotto or Steven Jimenez and say to them, you people wouldn't have lasted a minute back when I played in this league. You
don't know
soft.
how good you have it. Yeah.
No, I don't. But actually, it's funny you said that. I said to Stefan today, I said DeAndre's birthday, and he's celebrating his 32nd birthday. And then I was like, hey, isn't that weird? how old are you? 18? Like I was like, do you even think about that? Like, where you're gonna be when you're 32? And it's like, no, here's a 40-year-old asking an 18-year-old. It's like, I was like, well, start thinking about that now. Hopefully you're still playing at that age, But it's great to see the difference with that. I came into the league, I was 21, not as young, but you just have the guys having contracts at that age nowadays. It's so good because, again, it's shown how much the game has changed. And hopefully they're able to look at us and model some good things from us to add into their journey in the sport. So, they don't have to play until they're 35 or 40, but at least, for the next 10, 15 years that they do play, they, enjoy it as much.
Do these guys come up to you and ask for advice, or are they sort of, nope, okay, they're headstrong, they know what they're doing. Okay.
Right. Figured out already. Age 18. They already know everything. That's great.
No, they just call me names and, I know.
Any of those names you can share on a family-friendly podcast?
No, they call me names. And I just told them that, they better be careful because I will leave them in the game pretty soon. So, but.
I love the the evolution of the league, a team eventually showing up here in Cincinnati. We were talking a little bit before we hit the record button, some of the connections that you even had to Cincinnati before you got here. But I can't help but notice the number you picked, number 85, a reference to Chad Johnson, or at least that's what you've told folks. I gotta know, and I need you to be honest, how bad was Chad trying out at Kansas City?
Ocho Cinco. It's beautiful. It's beautiful for me to have the opportunity to finally, I got drafted here once, but
yes,
right, make that plane ride. But to have the opportunity to finally come back this time around, and actually my favorite number I would have been 23, and knowing the fact that it's just perfect timing that's not available for me. And all the other numbers are there. And I called a lot of people, not Chad. I didn't call him. I didn't ask him. I called a lot of people saying, hey, this is a number I'm thinking of to honor, Chad Johnson, Ocho Cinco, because I followed this guy's career since I was in college. And I just love his entertainment and how he played the game. He loves the game and shares it with the people, with the fans, because it's kind of what I've done. When I score goals, I celebrate and all these things. And even though everyone I called said, yes, do it, I still slept on it. Because this is Cincinnati. It's a sports town. If you're going to do something like that, you better be ready for it.
Yes.
So I slept on it a couple more days. I remember the team admin sending me a message like, okay, so what number did you choose? What number did you choose? I didn't say it to him until I was actually coming in. I said 85. And it's like, really? Wow.
It's like, no, man, you already made the team. You don't need to pick a number that high.
Right? They gave me some good number options. So when I said that high, and it was just like, okay. So, a lot of people wanted to ask me why, but they didn't. But, I openly told them that it's because of Chad. And it's great. This is Cincinnati. Yes, before FCC coming into this league, the Bengals was the reason why I knew about Cincinnati, even before I, came to Ohio. So that history to me is so special. And even my first game against Toronto, when I stepped on and to see a post from, Chad's story that he was watching the game and I came on, like that hit me when I came into the locker room and I saw that he tagged me in the post and I was like, oh, wow, he actually saw it. So it was cool.
That's awesome. I do want to go back to that moment in 2019 when you were drafted by FC Cincinnati in the expansion draft and then immediately traded. And I got to know, how much of that were you aware of? Was FC Cincinnati thinking about adding you for real? Did you always know you were going to be a part of some sort of weird three-way trade? What take us inside that moment, please.
You want me to take you to the back room of what actually happens?
Yes, I'm desperate to know.
I was excited for the team to come into the league. That's for sure. And seeing the potential that I could return back to Ohio was something, that was good.
Yeah.
But obviously there was a lot of talks around it again that they might pick me, they might move me. So I didn't really know much about how it's all going to happen. I was in Sierra Leone. I was in Africa when I was, staying close to the computer and watching the thing happening. And I didn't know about the trade happening, but the moment when the pick was going on and my phone was ringing to say they're going to pick you and then they're going to move you. And so that's the time I knew about it. But it was one of those where I was like, I knew there's a potential that I could come here when I was like, okay, I'm not protected. Oh, great. I'm definitely going to, I'm a goal scorer. You're going to pick me. Sure. And then, pick, but we're going to trade you. I was like, oh, crap. Thank you.
So we've moved past the hurt now of how bad things were here originally. Like, was there a part of you that would check in occasionally on Cincinnati and watch how the team was doing and think to yourself, oh, thank God I avoided that mess?
I never saw the mess, to be honest. I had a lot of friends that was here during the whole time, and I followed them. And I followed what was going on. And I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. But, the Kendall Austin, Emmanuel Ledesma, Justin Hoyt, and all these guys being here. I played, obviously, with Justin Hoyt and Emmanuel Ledesma at Middlesbrough. So, and Michael Hu during this time being here before all that. But I always followed. And then going, I don't know, maybe 5 years down the line when I then started to become a free agent every year, then I'll check in. I'll check in with the staffs that I know here or I knew and said, hey, what's going on? Even actually Pa Maduka, when he was here, I'll call him. I say, hey, talk to them, man. Bring me over. Bring me in. Not them telling me how it's going, how it's not going. So when we played, I just knew every time we played against Cincinnati, I'm always trying to score because I was like, listen, I'm showing you that I can still play. Why don't you bring me over, So that's why this time around, when this phone call actually happened, I was a little bit shocked because I'm like, the team is one of the best teams in the league right now. Like, what do I have for you to bring me over at this moment to join, a team that's, looking to win an MLS Cup? But they say, hey, you haven't won a cup and you're looking to win too. So how about, add in your experience into a locker room that wants to win? So that's how this one happened.
Kai, this is breaking my heart that you desperately I'm reading this as you desperately wanted to come to Cincinnati in 2019.
Years after
and you
years.
were so close only to be rejected. And you had two teammates in Hoyt and Ledesma. You name dropped some legends from FC Cincinnati lore here. Any stories from those guys back in England?
Oh yeah, I was so happy that they made the switch to come here into the U.S. and play. Ledesma helped me out a lot. This guy's got this cannon of a left foot, but his brand of football is so good. Anyway, he dished some passes to me, but Justin actually, Hoyty hosted me in his house. And I never wanted to leave because he basically lived in a mansion. This guy had too many rooms. He had a room for just his shoes.
You got a taste of that Arsenal money.
Justin Hoyt had a room for just his shoes. And again, this is the young, I don't know, I call myself young, but I think I was still 29 and I moved to England. Just got to England. And I'll go over, and Justin was so good. He was, because I lived in another place at a hotel. And he's like, come over to the house. And I'll go to his house. This missus will make food. And I'm just walking around the house like, man, this place is big. Like, and then I'll go in this one room and it's just full of shoes. And every once in a while I'll spend the night, and I just kept spending the night and they didn't want to leave.
Is it possible he forgot you were there? Like, there's just too many rooms. He didn't notice you.
Way, 'cause we had to go to training together.
Okay.
It's like, man, this guy gets to my house for a ride early every day. How is he getting here so early? It's like, I'm in the other wing, man.
I know. But it's good. And again, it just shows how the sport is the world's sport. But again, it could be so small. Just like you said, Cincinnati is very tiny, it's very small. I can see you guys anywhere, but that's what soccer really is, or football, how you want to call it. We talk about it, but we're also connected everywhere in the world, everywhere where you play.
Yeah, that was kind of the fun part about the Club World Cup being here in Cincinnati. I got a chance to meet a bunch of fans from the Mamelodi Sundowns. I went semi-viral about a tweet with them in South Africa, so I'm now a full-on fan of that team. And
then you have to go. Then you have to go there and go watch them play. In
Yes.
their ground.
No, I absolutely do at some point. I've got to get over to Pretoria and see them. They're a blast to watch. You did some broadcasting for the Club World Cup. How did you get into that, and how did you enjoy being a broadcaster?
Just paid a few people to let me in. And said, hey, what's up? No, I love the story of the game. I love telling my story, but I love to tell the sports story. I love to share, the things that we could share from the locker room to the people. Talk about how the game is played. Sometimes it's actually fun when you can sit in bars or sit in places and people talk about soccer. Again, we're not the most famous sport in America, which I get it. Not everybody's going to know me as a soccer player where I go. So sometimes I've been in rooms where people are talking soccer, and I'm just loving just to sit there and just listen to how, what they say and what you believe in and all this stuff. So those things are good. So broadcasting, to me, it's a lot of work for sure. But it was amazing when I had one of the producers, Shaw Brown, who's been part of soccer in America for so long. He's worked for different networks, to call me over to join TNT, and DAZN says, hey, would you like to do it? And I spoke here to, Pat and FCC staffs and say, hey, we have days off. And those days off, is it okay if I go jump on TV? And they say, sure. So it was fun.
You're aware that if you start a podcast, like, we're required to be rivals then at that point. Like, it's media wars. You can't, there's no friends. It's on site then at that point.
Who's your biggest rival in Cincinnati?
Ooh, who is?
All right, don't say. I'm gonna check. I'm gonna look up, and I'm gonna join them so I can.
No, wait, whoa.
They already have Justin Hoyt. You're not allowed to join your old teammate there. That's getting up right there.
They can't get too powerful, okay? Kai, you've played in a number of places. You've certainly had your fair share of rivalry matches. We're looking ahead this weekend. The big Hell is Real derby here in Cincinnati now. How does the Hell is Real compare to some of the other rivalries you've been a part of, and how quickly too do you sort of like adopt the rivalry of a team that you join?
I've already adopted it.
I imagine this one for you. Yeah,
I adopted it. From not even being part of the games, because again, yes, I was on the other side before, and just to see it, and just again, I remember being in Columbus, and we never made it here to play a game, but going to Cleveland to play against Cleveland City Stars. That was something that was cool. Just saying, you play another team in Ohio.
Yeah.
But after I joined the team, when I joined FCC, and one of my first games then ended up to be in Columbus. And I don't think when I stepped on the field, I was welcome. So, but I know when I stepped on the field here, every day, every game that I've stepped on the field here, I've seen how much, welcome and energy I get from our crowd, from our fans. So I think I've adopted it already, because, when they do come here and play against us, I know who I'm representing, and I know, where the true loyalty lies, for me. I mean, yes, people might be like, oh yeah, it's so quick to choose that you play for those. No, but I see what it is. And for me, it's not just saying because I'm here, but there's a lot of people that was watching the first game. I was so happy to be part of that first game and seeing how it goes. So to look forward to this one, to whatever minutes or, moment I get to be part of it, I'm definitely going to be, on this side at the FCC side and saying, yeah, I want to, help make history part of this rivalry.
Amazing.
Is there anything different that goes into the week before a rivalry game for players, or is that just something that fans, that we want to believe something's different, but the preparation stays the same?
No, there has to be. There has to be. I mean, personally, obviously, in that week, even the week before, you don't want to think too far ahead. But even before this week, a few of us already talked about it last week. We didn't want to look past the Chicago game, but we talked about it to say, okay, it's this, and then we have, the neighbors coming over. So yes, we have, and now coming into this week, it's not keep talking about it. We already know what the hype is going to be, but we know it's not, for me, it's not really for us, the players. We know what it's for. It's for you guys. It's for the city. It's for your neighbors. It's for people in the streets, for the bragging rights. I've met a lot of people just being here a short time that says, I was born, in Columbus and I moved here, or, I was this and this. I was like, so which side are you choosing? And I was like, okay, so that's what the rivalries really is. So it's really young right now, but I want to hopefully, 30 years down the line, and I can say, yeah, I was part of when that rivalry started. I don't want no violence, definitely not, but I was part of when you can't even say the other team's name in another city. Yeah.
Man.
That.
So the locker room feels it, right? Like this is like a known thing going into this. I love that. I absolutely love that.
And so you've cemented yourself with this team now, part of the starting 11 in a lot of matches. You've been paired up with your striker partner, Kevin Denke. I got to know, has that man ever seen a carb in his life?
Oh man, that's a good question. He's good. Kevin is good. Kevin takes care of himself. I haven't seen that many young professional, even as myself when I was his age, to do the kind of things that he does for his body. And it's good. It's good. I see, obviously, he doesn't eat, he's a vegetarian. I think so. But he's constantly doing something, which is good. He's a freak to what he's doing and it's working. And you just have to, just respect his space and keep having him do it. Obviously, I think the story was actually before I got here, was scores of goals, takes off his shirt, and he gets yellow and then yellow and then yellow and then almost a red. People like, Kevin, keep your shirt on.
Yes.
if I looked like that, I would never have a shirt on ever. I'd show up to work without a shirt on.
So I guess now he stopped that, not taking it off.
What do you do when you come into a situation like this to learn how to play with a strike partner that's like Kevin Denke? Like, what's your process of learning how to have a partnership like that? Do you go and do you play golf together or get some couples counseling or like have some long conversations into the late night to find out like what makes the other guy tick? Or how does that process work of building a partnership for strikers?
Those are all amazing things that you've said, but I need to do that first with my wife, getting together and canceling before I do that with Kevin. It's we're given scripts. We're given script, by the coaches to say, this is, what you guys have to do. And hopefully we're trying to make it work. We're trying to make it click. And here, it's not just between me and him, obviously. Now you're adding Evander, right behind us or right next to us. And it's how do you make all that click? For me, actually, non-selfishly speaking, the experience that I do have helps me adapt into the system a lot faster because I'm understanding what the coaching staff wants. And I can read him. I can read Kevin really quick, that I know he wants to score a lot of goals. So make sure that he gets his chances. So I give try to complement them in their situations that they're in, because the more we do that, the more we are successful together. But we've talked a couple of times off the field, how we can get things going on the field. So basically that's what you do. But if he wants to take me out golf, which I don't think he's ever hit a golf ball, but it'll be good.
Oh God, Kai, you've been incredibly generous with your time. I only have one more question for you. I saw in some sort of like web feature with Minnesota United, they asked, music you listen to, and you just said music from Sierra Leone. And I know that we've got folks from the Knights of the Bailey, the guys who are drumming, and the girls that are drumming in the Bailey that are listening. Could you give us some music recommendations from Sierra Leone that we could maybe extract a chant or a song out of sometime?
Oh, wow. Oh, that's a hard one. I'm sorry. I think they've even asked me here to give a song that I want.
You still haven't given
Maybe that's why I haven't scored a goal. They're like, give us a song.
You need a goal song.
Yeah, you need a goal song. So I need to do that. No, the tunes have been, I love tunes. Again, I'm an energy guy. I'm a vibe guy. I love tunes, and Sierra Leone is stepping up in the tunes these days, and Afrobeats is working. But there's a lot of younger guys coming up. There's a guy named Drizzy Leak, who's actually really good doing his music, but more the ones in the drums and the traditional. There's another guy named Famous, but I can't really pick a one song right now.
That's fine. We'll leave it to the nerds to figure that out.
I need to find a goal song before the weekend, bro. Yeah, let's do that. Oh crap. But no, just the music's good. But I love watching. I love looking up into the stands and just seeing, just the chants and the energy that goes on from minute 1 till the end of the game. And to be part of the stadium, even though I've been here before, and I love that when you play against the teams, and then now I'm finally here. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm on the right side now. So yeah.
Appreciate your time, Kai, and get that song ready to go because I want to hear that played this weekend.
Song. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Yeah. No, it's actually a quiet. No, it's not a song. It's quiet. Everybody gets quiet and they just do a heart shape hands. That's it.
Ooh, yeah, I like it.
It's just throwing out the heart shape hands. Cool.
Oh, Kai, man, we really appreciate it.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
All right, and there you go. A wonderful conversation with Kei Kamara.
Were you as like horridly disappointed as I was to find out he wanted to be here the entire time? And we could have made that a reality so long ago.
Look, it's very possible he's just saying all the right things. But Chief, you've brought this up many times. I just want to believe the lie.
I want to believe the lie.
That the players are fans like us. I got the impression that since 2017, he was a genuine fan of FC Cincinnati and was desperate to be here ever since. It was incredible. Like, he got excited at the expansion draft idea because he thought he might be picked by us. He said every single season that he became a free agent, he called FC Cincinnati to see if they had a spot for him.
You know why he wanted to come here, right? He just wanted to see if Justin Hoyt still had the shoe room. Did the shoe room follow him across the pond?
I gotta know if he had a shoe room here in Cincinnati. What's the USL shoe room look like?
What kind of shoe room does a USL superstar get?
The next question when Chris Albright comes out at training needs to be a variation of, so what happened when Kai called? Did you ignore his call or did you just tell him no?
Right.
Yes.
For the last 3 years.
Yes.
And how much did you regret whatever answer you gave last year at this transfer window deadline?
My God. Could you imagine if we had last year had Kei Kamara instead of Joe Echenique, or even in addition to Joe Echenique? Yeah. I don't care.
I don't think it would have broken the budget.
Would have been additive. For sure.
Yes. Oh my God. Well, there is no player I am rooting for to score this weekend more than Kei Kamara.
Find out what his music is. This is exciting.
He did need to pick a goal song. Hopefully we figure out what that is. I want to hear it on Saturday. He also does not seem to like Columbus very much. And I really enjoy that a lot
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. Let my man cook right there.
So we talked about at the very beginning of this, the vibes going into this week. I gotta say, I didn't give an answer. I gotta say, I'm feeling confident. I don't care. Look, I, like God, do not play with dice and don't believe in coincidence. It's all right. You can't get me to believe that I jinxed anything. I think we got this one. I think we are riding the right momentum. I think we got the right guys coming back. I think Columbus is not operating at a place of strength right now. And I think this is going to be our moment.
God, I wish I had that much optimism in life. I just don't. I've seen too much. I've been around too long. I just know how this goes. But I got fired up talking to Kai today, and damn it, like, I need this.
Yeah. It is wild. Like, they aren't that far behind us in the table. It is very funny. We have nearly identical goal differentials, both in goals scored and goals against. We're at +6. They're at +7. 33 goals scored for us, 34 goals scored for them, 27 against for both teams. I just like our guys more. We've got Evander, they've got Diego Rossi, we've got Kevin Denke. They don't really have an answer to Denke.
No, but they've got Wilfred Nancy, and I don't know. I need to see Pat win one of these against him convincingly. And I know it was on the road, and I know it was a lot earlier in the year. The first half, the first game against Columbus did not spark joy for me.
No.
I could see this going any number of ways. The good news is that no matter what happens, they cannot pass us in the standings with a win, which makes me feel a little bit better.
Yes.
Okay, so Miles definitely penciled back into the starting 11, I'm guessing. Are we all in agreement on that?
Yep.
Is Lucas Engel still your left center back? For me, yes.
Yes.
I think so. We know Flores still has a knock as far as we can tell. Hadebe and Haglund Haglund's still dealing with his thing, but Hadebe appears to have a knock as well. That might be the center back by necessity, but I think he's also earned it on the merits. Yes.
So then your starting 11 then would be Kai, Denke, Evander, Buka, Anunga, and then Orishano on one side, Yedlin on the other, and a back three of Engel, Miazga in the middle, Miles Robinson on the right. That's not bad.
That sounds pretty formidable.
There's going to be some Joker play in that lineup somewhere. Like, we're going to find out, like, Evander has the flu or something.
Yeah,
oh my God.
yeah,
Don't do that. Don't do that to me.
But there's going to be like something weird. I guarantee you there's going to be something weird about the lineup.
Yeah.
Aldous Powell in place of DeAndre Yedlin, because it turns out like Yedlin, overslept.
Or like Kenji in for Anunga or something random. Even though Albright has said he's the position he can't play is central midfield.
Hell yeah, do it.
Yeah, he's got him he's lying to him. He's got him exactly where he wants him now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what Kubo's status is, but maybe Kubo makes a surprise appearance literally anywhere.
No, I think we're overthinking this. I think this is the squad. And if it isn't the squad, then I think something has gone horrendously awry between now and Saturday.
Hear me out. Dotto in place of Yedlin at right wing back.
No.
Damn it. All right. I'll keep thinking thoughts over here.
What about a true swerve, Evan Loro, penalty kicker, penalty stopper extraordinaire?
Playing where?
He's just earned
anywhere.
It.
Like
yeah. He's up top next to DK.
But still wearing the gloves for some reason.
Yeah, they can't take the gloves from you. I think he's allowed to play with gloves.
I think you can play with gloves.
Yeah, there's this might be apocryphal, but I believe there was a player in the 1950 World Cup for the U.S. who played against England in boxing gloves. It's possible he just taped his hands like a boxer, but it was my understanding he played literally with boxing gloves.
Remember those NFL players that would break their arm and just have a club that they would just smack people with?
Yeah. What's his name? Gronk was like half robot half the time with his mechanical arms.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I think this is going to be fun. I plan on getting down there early. I know I've got a scarf waiting for me at Northern Row. Yeah, this is going to be fun. Like, this is one that you definitely want to come out for the March. This is definitely one I would say get to your seat earlier than you normally do. Like,
get loud.
Yeah.
Like, get loud. Like, if there's one, thing that you can do, I do believe this. You hear it enough from players that matters.
Yes.
That enough players talk about how loud. I think Roman Celentano was talking about it when he did CST the other day, about how loud it is in front of the Bailey. And you don't realize how loud it is down on the field, and that you have the ability to disrupt whatever is going on. So get down there, get loud, stay loud, stand up. Shout something at the assistant referee.
Yes. Make sure you're there supporting the third team. They love to hear you. They love to hear your ideas. It's also an orange out. So if you somehow miss that, wear orange. Wear an orange scarf. Wear an orange hat. Wear a high vis vest. I don't know. Just wear some orange.
Wear a high vis vest. Sure, why not?
Bring some leftover 4th of July fireworks into the stadium. They love that.
Disavow.
I guess.
Are you predicting a win, Kevin?
Yeah, I was going to say, this is the part where we probably got to make a prediction. I'm going to say FC Cincinnati wins. I'm hesitant to put a score on it, but I will say FC Cincinnati wins a thrilling 3-1 victory over the Columbus
Crew. That would
Crew.
give me life.
But Chief, what are you thinking then?
I think it's going to be a 2-2 draw, and that it will a draw on the season for both teams. They get one, we draw them there, they draw us here. And I think it is going to be a bad draw.
I mean, with the away goals rule, they would win the regular season tie between us with a 2-2 draw.
That doesn't matter anymore.
You will definitely hear it on Twitter, though. I just want to
prepare
you.
But they're morons, so I don't. I tune that out.
I won't hear it on Twitter because I have most of those people muted.
All 5 of them.
Yeah.
I went through for like 2 days, and I just posted inflammatory stuff just to find all of them and mute all
mute
of them.
It's like kicking the rock to see what crawls out from underneath.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just so. It's just like a segment of their most online Twitter people. It's not that they talk trash. It's that they're like precious little children.
Yes.
And like just absolutely like fragile, delicate, made of glass. Like the fact that they're still, I guess, upset about the pre-court did nothing wrong showing up on the board before the game. Sorry, it's like a funny bit.
Yeah.
And it's the type of thing that we want teams to do.
Right.
Like I saw people on, of course it was Blue Sky, calling like making aspersions on Pat Noonan's character after that Onside came out, where he like was joking around with his son on the golf course, and he was like, if you don't make this, you won't eat dinner or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I'm sorry, you don't have like a joking relationship with your father. like I like you're just like a kid that was breaking down crying all the time. Like a
Right.
Like I don't know. Anyway, 4-2 to the FC.
4-2 for the FC.
Yeah.
Hell
It's
yeah.
gonna be a big
Hell
one, and we're gonna go flying from here.
Oh, man.
Are we, or is it going to
Yeah.
be like the 6-1 against Miami of last year?
Dude, if they win this game 6-1, I'm gonna have to call a doctor because it's not going down in under 5 hours.
What's the MLS record? Is it 8? Nobody's gotten more than 8.
Nobody's gotten more than 8.
Nobody's got more than 8. I'm just gonna put that energy out into the universe. Come on, baby.
All right. Would you rather MLS Cup or hang a 10 spot on Columbus in this game?
10 spot.
I think it's funnier if it's like you have to lose this game but win the MLS Cup.
No. It's one or the other.
I think the 10 spot, man. Like it'll be so hard to match that for so long, and it's just such a personal victory. Like we can't win MLS Cup over them, you know, as we
Yeah,
as
but
we learned.
that photo, the 10-0 photo, lives forever.
Yep.
I will
like-
say,
Lots of
If you
teams have
get-
won MLS Cup. Nobody's put up a 10.
if you get 10-1,
That's even funnier, actually, somehow.
the only reason why I want it is then you can celebrate it every October 1st as like the anniversary or like the holiday representing that match.
Yeah. And you got to put something up in the stadium 10-1. It's got to live there for the rest of time. It's got to be
put a
like
banner up.
a permanent fixture. And then they get mad saying how lame it is that you put up a 10-1 thing. And it's like, yeah, but y'all lost 10-1. Go fuck yourselves.
You know what would be so funny is take the like all the stadium graphics and do like fake old LCD burn in where like the Columbus Crew score line is sort of like permanently
burned in. It's like
just
a
slightly
score bug in the corner.
Yes, just slightly behind the actual score. Yeah.
Man, now I feel like we're just going to end up in for a bad time on Saturday.
Now I'm all excited for October 1st because this would be that would be the coolest thing where it's like happy 10-1 day. Talk about where were you on 10-1 day?
Chief, like I think if we lose this game, we launch the PostCast into its own alternate universe where we just pretend like that happened.
What are you talking about? It was a great game. 10-1. Can you believe? Hat tricks for Denke, Evander, and Pavel.
Look, in a world of anti-vaxxers and climate denialism, why can't we have a fun one? Why can't we?
We're just presenting alternative facts.
Yes. Yeah, you don't have to believe them. They're
Right,
alternative to the
And the
facts.
Crew fans are like, oh, no, we won that game. It's like, well, that's your opinion.
Yeah, teach the controversy.
Yeah,
You have
is
to
what I would
respect-
say.
You have to respect my opinion.
Right.
That we won that game 10-1.
Yeah, we can have a
What
whole.
happened?
Like,
I thought you were tolerant. I thought you were the tolerant people.
Like we're having a debate here. How come you're not listening to me? I listened to you. I was very polite and
I'm
listened to your
tolerating
version.
your belief that you've won all
That
these
you won.
MLS Cups and stuff. You have to tolerate my belief that we won this game 10-1.
gonna get hard to work on the AI version of our podcast when this happens. Oh my
10-1.
God, Chief! I think this is the time that we all need to take your inspiring words to heart and guide us into the weekend here.
Do you guys want to do it with me?
I actually do, if
All
you
right.
don't mind.
Fuck
Go fuck
Columbus.
yourself, Columbus. The Cincy Postcast is a production of The Post Cincy. You can check us out online at thepostcincy.com. You can also follow us on Twitter and Blue Sky, Facebook, and Instagram. Twitter and Blue Sky, though, you'll find we're a little more active than the other places. We're also on YouTube, where you can listen to this episode if you aren't listening to it already. We are also putting up video content semi-regularly, including the Away Days series. We want to give a huge thank you to Jim Trace and the Makers for providing the music for this episode. They are a lovely band, and you can find more information out about them in the description of this episode. And if you happen to enjoy what you just heard, can I please ask that you like us, that you rate us on whatever app you're listening to, and maybe more importantly than all of that, share this episode with a friend. When it comes up at work, you're talking about FC Cincinnati, I say, hey, I listened to an FC Cincinnati podcast. I think you guys will like it. It would really, really help us out. Nothing helps a podcast travel more than a good recommendation from a friend, family member. That would be awesome. When it comes to the sorting algorithms that control our lives, a 5-star review would be much appreciated. Also, leaving a sort of written review weirdly does more than that. That's how the algorithms work. So maybe say a nice or a mean thing, whatever. Just as long as you give us 5 stars, that'll really, really, really help us out. And if you are looking for more MLS content, check out our other podcast, The World's Gam. Again, a link will be in the description of this episode. That is where we touch on league-wide storylines and news, and we talk about other games and a couple other teams in there as well. Think you will enjoy it if you are just dipping your toes into Major League Soccer. A huge thank you to all of our sponsors. A even bigger thank you to all of our patrons over at Patreon. But maybe most importantly, thank you for listening to this episode.